Have you noticed how exhausting life becomes when you are constantly doing a little more than what is yours, or quietly avoiding what actually is? There is a strange fatigue that doesn't come from hard work. It comes from overreaching, from stepping into responsibilities that were never fully yours, from carrying outcomes you cannot control. And there is another kind of fatigue, quieter, heavier. The tiredness that comes from knowing something is yours to do and not doing it. Most of us live somewhere between these two, doing too much, doing too little, rarely doing exactly what is ours. In daily life, this shows up in ordinary ways. At work, you take on extra tasks because you don't want to disappoint. You manage emotions that are not yours to manage. You anticipate problems that haven't arrived. Or in personal life, you avoid a responsibility because it feels uncomfortable. You delay a decision because it carries risk. You hope someone else will step in. In both cases, something feels off. Not dramatic guilt, not obvious failure, just a low, constant strain. Because somewhere inside, you know you are not aligned with what is actually required of you. Doing what is yours to do is not about effort. It's about alignment. And alignment is quiet. We often confuse it with ambition, or productivity, or selflessness. But alignment doesn't ask you to prove anything. It asks something simpler. What belongs to me in this moment? Not tomorrow, not in theory, not according to others' expectations. Right now. Most of our stress comes from blurring this line. We try to fix how others feel. We try to control how things turn out. We try to predict consequences beyond our reach. And then we wonder why we feel overwhelmed. Because we are living beyond our actual role. On the other side, we sometimes retreat. We shrink away from responsibility. We tell ourselves it's not the right time. We wait for confidence to arrive, and that creates its own tension. Because avoiding what is yours does not bring relief. It brings restlessness. In the Geeta, Arjuna's struggle is often framed as confusion, but at its core, it is about role. He is standing at the edge of an action that is his, not because it is easy, not because it is pleasant, but because it belongs to him. What's striking is that Krishna does not ask him to do more, and he does not permit him to do less. There is no encouragement to overperform, no permission to escape, just a steady return to what is his to do. This is not said with force. It is said with clarity, as if to point out that peace is not found in doing everything or in doing nothing, but in doing what is appropriate to your place. In daily life, this can feel surprisingly grounding. Consider a simple example. Someone close to you is struggling. You listen. You care. Doing what is yours may mean being present. It may mean speaking honestly. It does not mean carrying their pain for them. It does not mean fixing their life. When you cross that line, exhaustion follows. Or think of work. Doing what is yours might mean doing the task carefully, showing up on time, communicating clearly. It does not mean guaranteeing success. It does not mean absorbing everyone else's pressure. When you take responsibility for outcomes beyond your control, anxiety enters. And when you step back from effort that is yours, self-respect erodes. So the balance is subtle. Not more, not less. Just enough. This idea can feel uncomfortable at first, because many of us learned that worth comes from doing more, from being indispensable, from being needed, and others learned the opposite, that safety comes from staying small, from not risking failure. Doing what is yours challenges both patterns. It asks you to stop performing excess responsibility and stop hiding from rightful effort. This requires honesty. You have to notice where you are compensating, and where you are avoiding. This noticing is not harsh. It is quiet. You might feel it in the body. Overdoing feels tight, rushed, contracted. Avoiding feels heavy, dull, restless. Doing what is yours feels different. There is effort, but not strain. There is seriousness, but not panic. Even when the task is difficult, there is a sense of inner agreement. In the Geeta, action is never separated from this inner alignment. Action without alignment becomes burden. Alignment without action becomes stagnation. Together, they create steadiness. This steadiness does not guarantee outcomes. Things may still fail. People may still disagree, but the inner conflict reduces. You are no longer arguing with yourself about whether you are doing too much or too little. This clarity also changes how you relate to success and failure. When something goes well, you don't inflate yourself. When something goes poorly, you don't collapse, because you were responsible for the effort, not the result. This distinction matters deeply. Most suffering around action comes from mixing these two. We take responsibility for results we cannot control, and we avoid responsibility for effort we can. Doing what is yours reverses this. Effort becomes clean. Results become informational, not personal. In relationships, this brings relief. You speak when it is honest to speak. You stay silent when silence is appropriate. You don't manipulate reactions. You don't abandon connection. You show up as yourself, not as a manager of outcomes. Over time, this creates trust, not because everything works out, but because your presence becomes reliable. The same is true inwardly. Self-respect grows not from achievement, but from consistency with your role. You stop feeling scattered, pulled in too many directions, because your energy is no longer leaking into places it doesn't belong. This does not make life passive, it makes it precise. Each moment asks for something specific. Not everything, not nothing, just what is needed. The difficulty is that the mind resists this simplicity. It wants guarantees. It wants praise. It wants safety. Doing what is yours to do offers none of these consistently. What it offers instead is coherence. Your actions begin to make sense internally, and that coherence creates a quiet strength. You may still feel tired. You may still feel uncertain, but you are not divided, and being undivided changes everything. The Geeta does not promise ease. It does not romanticize duty. It points to something more practical. That when effort is aligned with role, life feels lighter. Not because there is less to do, but because you are no longer carrying what was never yours. Perhaps peace is not found in doing more, or in doing less. Perhaps it is found in doing what is yours to do. Not more, not less. And when that is seen clearly, even difficult actions lose their inner resistance. Because for the first time, you are not fighting yourself while moving through life.